Elise, come on up.
Alex, I'm really glad you brought up Fuller House. What amazing stories and what amazing lives. I'm not speaking of Fuller House, I'm speaking of all of you. So it's winter, and it's real winter, so not this winter. It's 3 winters ago in Portland, Maine, and I'm sitting at my computer as the snow's falling in January. And I'm reading this juicy email from my friend Craig, who I know we lived in a 300-person town in Alaska together, and he's in a serious breakup with his girlfriend, who's 17 years older than him. And that's when you live in a small town, you end up in relationships you didn't necessarily anticipate. And so I'm like trying to think how to coach him through the 37th breakup of this relationship, because there's also... to kill the suspense. There are no other options when you live in a 300-person town, so you just keep going back. And I go to write this very wise response, and I look at the screen, and I can no longer read. And I kind of like shake my head. I get migraines, so I'm like, oh, this is weird. And then I go to put my hands on the keys, and I don't remember how to type. And it's in this moment that I realize that I have to pay attention to what's happening to my body, because this is the scariest thing that's ever happened to my body. And I'm so scared that I finally want to ask someone for help, but I can't read phone numbers in my phone because I can't read, and I can't dial into the phone because I can't see the numbers on the keys. And the truth is that weird shit had been happening for about 6 months. I interview people for a living, and I was in a field placement at Spring Harbor Psychiatric Hospital where I was doing intakes for patients who were seeking care there. And I would interview people, and some of you know me, I remember freakishly many things about the people in my life. And I would interview people for an hour, and I get back to my desk and like not remember what they said. And then I'd like drive my car somewhere and forget that I even drove it. And these kind of like little things. And then I had this pain in my side right here. And I had a really strong relationship with the holy trinity of nicotine, alcohol, and caffeine. And so I was like, oh, I probably have lung cancer. I'm avoiding that. And so I was like, oh, now this is all happening like right now. And so I've decided finally to go see a doctor. And I went to the doctor in Portland, and she was like, hey, you know what's going on? And I told her what was happening, and she started asking me these questions, and she's like, oh, are you anxious? And I was like, yeah, I'm anxious. I've been anxious my whole life. Like, why? What? And she's like, have you ever been depressed? Again, I was like, is this a joke? Like, yes, I've been depressed my whole life. And as she's asking me these two questions, I was like, oh, this is one of those moments where life imitates life. And she is giving me a mental status exam, and I am a newly training social worker, and my job at the hospital is to give people mental status exams. And I can tell by how she's asking me these questions that she thinks nothing's wrong with me. And so she tells me, like, well, guess what? You're healthy. It's great. No lung cancer. Check. And she's like, okay, well, I think you just really need to hydrate, and you're under a lot of stress. I was like, duly noted. But then I'm like angry, but I'm also like tired and disoriented, and I have no memory again. So I'm kind of like laying down, but then I'm really angry. So I sit up and I'm like, no hydration is going to bring back my faculty of reading and writing, right? Like, I think we all know this. So then began this adventure in the tragedies of modern medicine, where I was told I was fine very frequently. And it turned out I finally went to a doctor who said, well, you either have MS or you have Lyme disease. And when he said that, it all clicked, because I had been bitten by a tick right here when I was practicing my religion, which is skinny dipping in any body of water I can find. And as he said this, I realized that I'd actually been having these symptoms add up for years and years and years. And so then began the very unfun, equally holy trinity of un-caffeine, un-nicotine, and un-booze. And I basically had to change my whole life so that I could regain my capacity to think. And man, I wanted to tell a story about health because we've had a lot of sickness stories. But the truth is, I'm still sick. And the truth is that it caused a huge pause in my life, a pause that is still happening. And what I'm learning about the way life unfolds in stories is that we don't always know the direction it's going to go. And I still don't know exactly what direction it's going to go. Thanks.